Hey folks, how are you? Sorry, scared the heck out of you, didn't I? I got that cop voice, I apologize. We're gonna start? I feel like an echo. It sounds like it's like, I'm talking like a... Anyway, how are you today? My name is Neeck. I'm a school social worker with Broward Schools in Florida. Well, Lauderdale to be exact. And I'm going to speak about our response as social workers, counselors, mental health professionals to the Marjorie Stoneman High School shooting, which occurred on February 14, 2018. Not the way we want to remember Valentine's Day, is it? I was in a training that day, regular day. My job was working as a social worker in middle school. Let me preface this by saying I'm a retired police officer. 24 years as a police officer in the New York area. I was a volunteer firefighter, and I've taken both basic, advanced, critical incident stress debriefing with Dr. Mitchell himself back then, and also peer support. So I'm very familiar with critical incident stress, critical incident stress debriefing, and boy, did that training come in handy for this, you can imagine. So I'm at a training, and I'm leaving the training. It was a social emotional learning. How to help our kids to make good choices, to grow as people. And I'm driving down the Florida Turnpike from Parkland Beach, Florida, to go home, and I see the SWAT truck coming with about 5 or 6 police cars behind it. And being the former law enforcement officer that I am, of course I have a police scanner app for my cell phone. So I put it right on, and what do I hear? Shooting at Stoneman Douglas High School. Probably the last place in the world that the people in that community would have thought a shooting would happen. One of the best schools in Broward County, very academic place, big school, 2,000 students. Regular day. It was a beautiful day out. Never thought we'd have to deal with this. So, what was important was getting information. I'll talk more about that. Being an ex-law enforcement officer, emergency responder, if you will, we kind of want to get in the action, don't we? We want to know what's going on. We want to see what's going on, what we may be facing. So I put on every possible news outlet, radio, any kind of live reports that was going on. Of course, that's what we all saw. We saw the response. And if you look at that middle picture, that's what it looked like when I tried to get to the scene of where the families were, trying to get through all that. And of course, the information that I was able to get was preliminary. At that time, I didn't know who the shooter was over the police radio. They were identifying him. So you can put yourself there, One of the things that I really want to impress upon everyone is that when something happens across the country or in other parts of the world, you don't really get it. You don't really get it till you're there. You can think you're going to get it. You can think you understand what's going on. You can think you can handle it. But when the time comes, it is not easy. And that's kind of what I want to talk about today. Hopefully this moves for me. It's getting stuck before. But I don't think I can show you this. But this young man down here on the lower left is a kid that I work with. Here he is being interviewed by Megan Kelly. And if you can imagine this, it's pretty chaotic. All right? Now I had in the upper left-hand corner some of the police transmissions. That, of course, is Broward County Sheriff, which is the primary agency that responded. They cover the area where the school is. And that's Mr. B.L. Very articulate kid was interviewed. I probably met with him about maybe a week later. And I saw him probably around a month ago. And it's very interesting how resilient young people can be. Focusing on the future, not the past. And this is a kid that walked right past people that had been basically killed. That's what gives you strength. These kids, seeing how they bounce back, how the faculty bounces back. But let me go back into what I was going to talk about. So responding, I'll just leave, tell you what happened. I have a supervisor. I called her up. I said, what do you want me to do? She said, stand by. About maybe half an hour later, she calls me back, said, go to this elementary school near Stoneman Douglas, where they were bringing kids who couldn't go home because of the police roadblocks. Nobody's there. So I call up the big boss. I say, Dr. Thompson, is there anybody at the hotel? The hotel is the Coral Springs Marriott in Parkland, all right, which is right near the school. She said, no, go. So I go through I respond. That big traffic jam that I showed you, I had to go to that. I showed my identification of the school district to a deputy from Broward Sheriff. Luckily, the guy was right, just let me go right through. Went to the hotel, that's the hotel. If you see the picture to the right of the hotel itself, that's where they had all the families. All the families mixed up with kids that had been at the school, mixed up with witnesses to the event. Law enforcement officers everywhere. You had to actually sign in to get into the building. Now mind you, I'm the first social worker from Broward Schools where the event happened to respond to the hotel. So luckily I had already checked and seen kind of what the basics were, and that helped a lot, so I have that information. So who responded? FBI Victim Services, local police department victim services, Broward County Schools social workers, family counselors, psychologists, community mental health agencies, not many at the beginning, I should say, and local clergy. So all these people are around the victims' families who didn't know what was going on at that point. They had suspicions, of course, as we all did, because they hadn't been able to reach their children. But the families consisted of just not just parents, but friends, relatives. It was, you can imagine what that was like. Right, that's some of the families outside the Marriott, as you can see. All right, so what do we have to deal with when we respond to this as mental health professionals? There's no playbook for this. The only good thing that comes out of something that's difficult for everyone is usually information on how to handle it in the future. Well, we didn't have that. There have been obviously other school shootings, other tragic events in our world, unfortunately, and there is information, but do we train with that routinely? No. If you're a police officer, a firefighter, or emergency medical person, you're training all the time for casualties and major events. Even those of us who are here are training for critical incident stress debriefing. But as mental health professionals, do we have drills for this? No, we don't. Probably should. Overwhelming situation. A lot of information, kind of chaotic. The police were in charge, which is a good thing, but also not a good thing because they're not thinking really about mental health stuff at the time. They're dealing with crime with 17 victims. When we were with these families in this hotel, their kids were still at that school because it was a crime scene. So went into I got there about maybe 5:30, 6 o'clock, and they hadn't told anybody really what the story was until after 1 in the morning. So imagine that whole time there. Right? Conflicting information. When are we going to get information? Who's doing what? Do we know what the story is? Well, we try to communicate with all the different agencies, but that's always not easy, as you know. If you remember, even in New York City, during September 11th, the fire department had trouble with their radios and couldn't communicate with the police, and vice versa, and all these different agencies. You can imagine what that was like. And Broward Sheriff has taken a lot of hits on the radio situation that they had, some of the information that was passed between, and I won't go into anything else. All right? Communication issues that we say, unsure how to utilize the resources that were there. School psychologists, folks, are really testers. They're not clinical, counselors. They're not clinical, mainly. So they're impressed in the service, and they're not really 100% ready. All right? How to use chaplains. Different faiths. You have a lot of people walking around wanting to help, but you really got to be able to point in the right direction, and that was hard to do. And it's funny because it's not funny, but it's sad almost, that when you listen to some of the families, they said that really nobody helped them that night. And that's all we did. It's the worst moment of their lives, and there's nothing you can really do to make it better, only to make it maybe, just be there with them. That's it. Getting to the location, which I said was a bit of an issue, so ID is an important role definition. Who's going to do what? Coordination of services that were all there. And what was our effective response to families, friends, community members? How are we going to do it? All of us have different levels of training as social workers. Some of us are really good at grief and bereavement. Others are really good at cognitive behavior therapy. But if you were a social worker there and you were told to respond or asked to respond, a psychologist, any mental health professional, you had to be able to do it. You had to be able to do all that, whatever was necessary. And of course, debriefing us. You think that happened the way it should have? No. Definitely not, because you're too busy. Our debriefing was leaving at about 11:30 that night or midnight and coming back the next day and doing the same thing all over again. Okay. Crisis response tools for social workers. You can use this as mental health professionals if you like. Be prepared for the immediate response. All right. What I talked about before is getting information. You got to try to get as much information as you can about the event. And how I did that was through news outlets. I was able to go home first for a little while. CNN, Fox News, local news, everything. Everything I could possibly get. And of course, is that always accurate though? Not really. But you get as much information as you can. And why do you need that? Because you want to go to the situation being prepared for some of the questions you might be asked. And kind of preparing yourself emotionally and mentally for this. Okay? Of course, you want to know maybe what your role could be when you get there. Now, my job as the first social worker there was to coordinate. So I went immediately to the victim services, professionals with the FBI and the local police that were there. Because they kind of were doling out things. They wanted to know what kind of experience level we have, what we could do. And I relayed that information to my bosses, so as soon as they came, they were able to coordinate better. And that proved to be really valuable. Coordination. Speak to the coordinators of different agencies, ascertain the roles and functions. Okay, what's our role? Providing crisis services. Let people know what's going on, what you're going to be doing, so that they can set up everyone else. Mental preparation. Prepare yourself mentally and emotionally prior to engaging victims and families. Now, we do that before somebody comes in our office, but generally we know what we're going to get. Okay, Joanne has this issue we're dealing with, Robert has this one, so okay, we're ready. Here you really know what you're going to get. We had friends of one of the kids that died saying, he had such a good life. Why him? Why not me? Just amazing stuff like that. Okay, from the beginning, I knew I'd be dealing with crisis I'd never experienced before. Now, I've been to traumatic events in Chicago as a firefighter. I was in New York on September 11th, about 20 miles north of the city. I was working at a high school. We had cases, parents were working in the buildings. Firefighters, police officers, children were out of school. But like the previous presenter, Mina said, if you were here, let's talk about a target, right? Ground zero is the bullseye. If you're in the other rings, you're still affected, but at a different level. You weren't there when the shooting happened. But by talking to the people who were right there and experienced it, you certainly knew what was going on. And if you have any kind of empathy skills as a professional, you're going to feel some of what they felt. Secondary trauma. Okay? I also use spirituality here, faith-based stuff. When there's not a lot of hope, we as professionals, people who we think, we're used to intervening in crises, right? So we have something we have to say, right? You know, it's part of our own anxiety. It's like the person who goes to a viewing and someone passes away, you feel like you have to say something. But just being there is important. So I prayed with some people. I prayed with some of the families whose kids that hadn't heard from. We had one, which was like a miracle of the night. She couldn't reach her son. And at 11 o'clock at night, she borrowed my cell phone to call her son. Couldn't reach him. So she called me back and she had my number and said, "We found him." I was like, wow, good news. All right, emotional preparation too. Providing compassionate care and professional response is very important. You have to provide our clients with what they need. And this is not for everyone. You know, as I mentioned earlier, some people responded to this probably were not mentally, emotionally, or professionally prepared for it. We have to be all three to do a good job, folks. We really do. You're not going to send a firefighter out without an axe or a hose, a police officer without a gun. We need skills to be up to date. And, you know, grief, bereavement, really important. Trauma, very important. Know how to handle it. Know what to do with it. All right? And we should only go if we're prepared. You know, David Hogue and his sister wrote a book. Those are two of the students. You probably heard of him. He's one of the activists. They said when they went to the Resiliency Center like a week later, they met with two counselors who, when they started talking to them, started crying. And they kind of slammed them. You know, like, "I'm here to get help, and what are you doing?" You know, kids particularly are looking for you to be strong. Adults as well, faculty as well. I just ran into Dr. Mitchell here. You know, I talked to him. He went down there. He went down to deal with the faculty. And he's really worried. Because all the services went to the kids, to the families. What about the people that witnessed all this? What about the people that had to watch kids who they couldn't bring back in the classroom get shot? That's really happened. That really happened. You know, subsequent to the initial event, we were, not just me, Broward County Schools social workers were dealing with what they call resiliency centers in the community for weeks after. For a week straight, we were dealing with kids that were in the school that witnessed stuff, families, memorial services. Go through 2 memorial services in one day or vigils after something like this, and you're ready to kind of take a vacation. Pretty tough. And I'm not belittling the people who actually had relatives or friends that were killed, but when you're there kind of absorbing this, you know that affection. And you're not 100% ready after it. All right, therapeutic relationship. What I found it was very important to follow up with some of the kids and the people that I initially started working with. Because you know, as a mental health professional, the importance of a therapeutic relationship. That really helps any intervention to be successful. Because I was a social work officer in the Army, that was put to use. That was put to use by having me be the unofficial social worker for the JRTC program at Stone Douglas, who had lost 3 students, and who were members of RTC. The shooter was a member of that too, by the way. And I talked to the faculty, the first sergeant and the major that were running that program, who knew him. And one of the kids whose sister was killed knew him very well. So, you could argue and talk about what should have been done. I can tell you as a social worker and as a mental health provider, there was a lot that was done for him and with him. But unfortunately, we couldn't prevent this. And what can we learn from that? Of course, just try to do things better. And I'll talk a little more about that. So the therapeutic relationship has helped in the healing process. Now, as you know, it's hard to kind of hand over people that you're dealing with as a professional. Whether it's a patient that you just dealt with in a trauma, traumatic situation as a paramedic or a firefighter, bring them to the hospital and stay so long and never know what happens to them. Well, it's tough to turn them over to other people for long-term counseling or therapy, but you got to do it. And I had some resistance from a couple of these RTC kids because they don't just want to talk to me. So you really have to kind of look at professionally what they call transference, counter-transference, all this stuff as well, because especially when you deal with kids, Because as we know, for emergency service professionals, the hardest fault to handle is one involving the death of a child. When you have, a mass casualty situation like this, plus faculty members that were killed, you do need that continuity. Self-care. Well, we're not good at that either, are we, as emergency service people or social workers and mental health professionals, are we? So you ever get spun up? You find out you've got to do more and more and more after this? I was like that. I didn't want to leave after the first couple of days of doing this. My wife and I had booked a trip to Chicago from Florida. And I didn't want to go. And she said, you got to go. So we compromised. We made it a day short, but we went. It was the greatest thing that could have happened. Because you're in the middle of all this negativity and stress. You need to get away. Because you got to come back the next day and do it all over again. You got to be, at least somewhat supported and affirmed and, kind of centered to be the best you can be. After this, we were going back as initial responders to the school several times during the year. And it became, I'm not going to say routine, but you kind of knew what you were dealing with every day. But every story had its little effect on it, one way or the other. And, it still does to a certain extent. I'm still schooled up. I went from a middle school to work at a high school. And I'm the only social worker in the high school of about 1,800 kids. And I think I've seen 370-something students this year. And that's partly because of this. Now you're thinking, like, I don't want to miss one, right? So those are just things you got to watch for, too. When you think you're the only person you can do it, when you're so committed. And that's part of this, too. Self-care. So the tools. Information, coordination, mental preparation, emotional preparation, the therapeutic relationship, and self-care. We're all human. We're not supposed to handle stuff like this. But we chose to go into a line of work or profession where we run towards it, we don't run away from it. So we need to be prepared for the next one. Unfortunately, it's going to happen. And I used every single skill as a social worker, as a emergency service professional that I ever could have used in my life doing this. For families, for, faculty, for the victims' families, for the victims themselves, people who survived, and you saw such a gamut, The teacher who basically didn't want to go back to work did, and it was really tough for her. Kids who thought that they should have been able to do something to stop it, so they became these macho guys that were walking around with rocks and backpacks and dealing with survivors guilt. Kids at Stoneman Douglas intellectualized everything. They're very smart kids. They'd have an answer for everything, which made this even harder for them because they didn't have an answer. And they resist some of it. They resisted some of the mental health help because they were like, no, you don't know. You have no idea. And they're still feeling like that. They're still feeling like mental health services are not as good as they should be. Because they want an easy fix, or a quick fix. They want to be feeling better right away. And it takes a long time. It's going to be a long time for this community to be able to move on completely after this. But you need to go back to Stoneman today. And one of the positive things about the place is the freshman class. They weren't there. So now you have a new energy there, which is really pretty cool. So life goes on. And that's the resiliency. And that's us too, as professionals. We go to the tough calls, we deal with what we got to deal with them. We're getting ready for the next one. Please God know, but we're prepared, hopefully. So my little talk today was all about what you might see when you get to a situation like this, how you might help yourself in the future if you're going to respond to it, and really to encourage your different agencies to practice this stuff. Practice. Have protocols in place. Have good communication skills. Have meetings before it happens. one of the issues at Stoneman was the code red. Code red is, when there's an intruder in school. This kid knew what he was doing. He knew when to go in. He knew, it was pretty well planned out on his part in terms of time of day and who'd be there, who wouldn't be there, and things like that. Unfortunately, we got to be one up on these people. We really do, and that includes mental health. So thanks for listening. Any questions? I'll be here as well. Yes, ma'am.
And I assume that you're aware of ICISF schools model.
Yes, ma'am.
And I also am making an assumption that you would suggest that every school get trained in.
Absolutely. Big time. I look for resources after this thing happened, just to kind of get an idea of, all right, what are we looking at here? How best to help these people? You know what I found? Very little. Unfortunately. You'll get a book by a survivor or something, will tell you what they went through. But when you get a book by a social worker or psychologist or mental health professional telling you, if this happens, do this, not really. And I'm hoping somebody does that with some of these things, get some kind of information out there, because we really need it. If nothing else, to be able to do the job much, much better in the future. Yes, ma'am.
This is one of the first incidents we've seen of this sort, where we saw a very organized effort from the victims very, very early on.
Yes.
In front of the media, very quickly. And particularly as kids, I can understand why they would want to do that.
Yes.
But I'm curious, those of us, we know the double-edged sword of the media and how that can have some really long-term damaging effects.
Yes.
So I wondered how mental health was involved in that, and what your sort of guidance was, and what the long-term effects of it.
Very good question. I walked by Emma Gonzalez one day at school and asked her how she's doing. Was she getting any help? I said the same thing. I just gave her all the same thing. And I did that because you see what they were doing on the outside, and you said to yourself, wow, I hope that they are getting some assistance here, and that when this dies down, it's not going to be a complete, nosedive for them. Because, they felt powerless, so they wanted to do something. There's no doubt about that. And the community's taking advantage of that too. But there's a lot of emotion. There's a lot of angry people. There's people that are feeling like they were let down, and that things could have been done better to help them. And that's come out in the media a lot. The local newspaper won the Pulitzer Prize for its coverage of Stoneman Douglas. And a lot of it was very much anti-school district, anti-police. A lot of tactics were criticized, a lot of previous interventions with the subject were brought out. And I think maybe the media needs to, they promote the positive as well, the resiliency centers, the fact that, the community has banded together. The latest thing was a wooden temple that they built, that they burned down. Everybody put all these messages in. It was supposed to be like a cleansing thing. But as far as really bringing the community together and really promoting mental health resources and getting them in place, slow. They just had passed a bond issue in Florida, in Broward County, that talks about giving more money to mental health services in schools, but it's tied into school security and teacher raises. So, how do you make those decisions? Security in schools is really important. And people want schools to be 100% safe, and that's pretty hard to do. So it's a whole bunch of issues that really have to be addressed. Any other questions? Thank you.